of power. It is a hallmark of democracies. And then the Department of Homeland Security issued on January 27th a National Terrorism Advisory System Bulletin calling to our attention the need to act so that this doesn't happen again, because there are perceived grievances fueled by false narratives could continue to mobilize or incite to commit violence. And then, of course, the threats of violence, again, that I referenced from the director of the FBI. It goes on and on. But I think it's really important. Speaker.gov, if you go there, you go here, you'll have a clear path. On any of these questions or any of our, Zoe, being the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, do you want to say anything about how we will
House
protect
Administration.
the
Well, the House Administration Committee has held a series of hearings, primarily with the Inspector Generals, looking at deficiencies in the management of the Capitol Police, and unfortunately, we've found many. But that's not about what spurred the attack, that's about the response. The fact that there were deficiencies in the management of the Capitol Police didn't cause the riot. So we will make sure that the interim steps to be more safe at the Capitol continue, but it's not a substitute for finding out what happened here. What caused a mob of Americans to think that they were somehow supporting the Constitution when they tried to disrupt the constitutional process of counting the Electoral College votes? Who paid for it? How was it organized? We need to find that out to keep the country safe. I thank you, Madam.
Thank you. In terms of the Capitol Police, they saved our lives. We'll be forever grateful for that, to them. They enabled us to return so that we could honor our constitutional responsibility prescribed in the Constitution as January 6th. Not just any day did they have there, as the Republicans describe it, normal tourist day in the Capitol. No. It was a date prescribed in the Constitution. They came to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power. And how could the Capitol Police ever suspect that the President of the United States would incite an insurrection? So we want to support them. We want to shore up any shortcomings, in not only personally, but also physically for the Capitol. But let us always salute them for what we've done, and they did, and I'm so glad that in both houses we have voted a gold medal to salute their courage. Intelligence has been a very important part of all this. Mr. Schiff, did you have something you wanted to say?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We know that there was intelligence collected prior to the attack, and we know that there was intelligence that was not collected, that was available to help law enforcement identify in far greater depth and detail the danger to the Capitol that day. Why that intelligence wasn't gathered, whether the intelligence that was gathered was appropriately shared, whether that intelligence was acted upon. These are just some of the questions that we have been looking at in the Intelligence Committee, but frankly have not been able to get sufficient answers. And it's certainly my hope and expectation that with the specific focus on the events of January 6th of the Select Committee, with the staff dedicated to that purpose, to uncovering why didn't we see this coming, what kind of advance warning did we have, should we have had, what are the appropriate mechanisms that law enforcement can use to identify when there's a threat to the nation's capital, and how that information can be shared. It's my hope that through our efforts we can get those answers and put additional pressure as needed on the agencies to be forthcoming with that information so that we can prepare for the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schiff. Mr. Aguilar serves on two committees of jurisdiction, the Appropriations Committee and House Administration Committee. Did you want to share some thoughts about how you see?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I just wanted to underscore that the focus of this is on seeking the truth. The focus is on making sure that the American public understands the threat to democracy that took place on January 6th. But there were real people affected by those actions. 140 Capitol Police officers injured, some of them permanently, that day. 5 people lost their lives. Staffers were barricaded here in the Capitol. Members were affected. Everyone touched by January 6th deserves to find the truth of what transpired, what led up to it, and how we can protect our democracy moving forward. So I'm honored to be part of this group. I look forward to Chairman Thompson's leadership and with working with my colleagues. Thank you.
I want them to self-introduce so that you hear more from them than from me.
I'm Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, and I fled a country where political violence was how political transitions were made. And I've never lived a day in this country where I haven't been proud to live in a democracy, to have the freedoms that this country offers. But I also understand I have a responsibility to protect our democracy. And so it broke my heart to be in this building on January 6th and see the kind of political violence that occurred in the country I fled and in countries that I worked on when I was at the Department of Defense, happening here in our country. And so I look forward to executing my responsibility on this committee to understand fully exactly what happened on January 6th, what is motivating domestic terrorism, and how we build a better whole of government approach to addressing domestic terrorism, and how we secure the citadel of democracy here at this Capitol. Thank you.
I'm so proud of Stephanie Murphy's patriotism. She came to America as a boat baby from Vietnam, and she's always talked about how much her family appreciates America. And she, of course, has served our country very well in the Department of Defense, now in the Congress of the United States. But her story is one that is the American dream many times over. I now want to yield to the distinguished, no stranger to any of you, because he serves on so many of committees of jurisdiction in this regard: Judiciary, Homeland, Judiciary, House Administration, and CORE, the Committee on Oversight. Mr. Jamie Raskin.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Oversight Committee has been conducting for several years now an investigation into violent white supremacy. The Department of Homeland Security has declared domestic violent extremism the #1 security threat in the country. And we saw that threat explode right in front of us on January the 6th. So the impeachment trial of Donald Trump determined, I think, by robust, bipartisan, bicameral majorities who incited the violence on January 6th. But we need to figure out who organized the violence on January 6th. How did they organize it, and why did they organize it? What were the purposes of the different critical actors who were present on that day? That's why this investigation is critical for every American living and as yet unborn, because we need to defend our democracy with everything that we've got. And so it's a great honor to be able to serve on the Select Committee under Chairman Thompson and with these wonderful colleagues. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Now, a title that very few in the Congress have a right to, but we're very proud that Elaine Luria has decided to serve in Congress. Commander Elaine Luria.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And, you know, I stand here today as someone who served 2 decades in uniform. The first time that I took the oath to protect and defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, I was 17 years old entering the Naval Academy. And I never thought that fast forwarding to today, I would be standing here serving in this capacity, looking into why we had a violent mob attack our Capitol, the process of a smooth transition of government. And, you know, like all of my colleagues here have said, we have to get to the bottom of this, and this can't be a partisan thing. I think back to my time on many deployments, one aircraft carrier deployment to the Middle East, and we're simultaneously launching strikes against terrorist targets in Iraq and Afghanistan, foreign terrorist targets. But one thing about serving in the military is that, you know, we don't ask about political party. It's not about partisanship. I didn't turn to the sailor next to me operating the nuclear reactors and say, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? truly it was about accomplishing a mission, and I hope that this committee can come together, can accomplish that mission together, and we can leave behind any of that veil of partisanship at the door, because these are answers that the American people need and deserve about why this happened in our country. And getting to the bottom of it is really the first step in making sure that it can't happen again. So thank you to Madam Speaker for appointing me to this committee, and I look forward to working with my colleagues.
Thank you so much. I've been informed that we have 4 minutes left in the INVEST Act. We're very proud of that legislation. That's part of our purpose here to do good things for the people. I just wanted to say how proud I am of this select committee. So glad that Benny Thompson will be leading it for us, and so glad that it will be bipartisan from the start. We're proud that Liz Cheney has made the public statements that she has made, and that she has agreed to join the committee. Another time, she will say her why and her purpose, but she has spoken very clearly about the committee, and that gives us great confidence that we'll be able to work in a nonpartisan way for the people. And as we go into the 4th of July with great pride in the fact that we will be closer to the truth because of the willingness of such a distinguished group to take this responsibility. Thank you all very much.
That was 6:30. That's funny.